Yeah, somebody that watched the video that I did posted last night about all the places that I drove while having Tourette syndrome and jerking and twitching. Uh, they asked me if I was ever harassed by police officers, and because my jerking and twitching and pay attention to the road and stuff, and I'm that's 100% no. I've never had a police officer harass me, or, attack me or anything because of Tourette syndrome or twitching or jerking or whatever. I mean, they're not, I've never had that happen. And most police officers, all the police officers I've ever dealt with, most every one of them, were professional, courteous, doing their job, and they're just doing their job. They just want to do their job and go home. So, I was one time I had this police officer that stopped me in Houston, and he asked me where I was coming from. And, I was told him I was coming from, Del Rio, Texas, and I had to come through San Antonio. And then I was in Houston, and he stopped me and he said, asked me where I come from. And he said, well, you got a busted taillight. And I said, well, I'll get it fixed. I'll get it fixed. He said, well, yeah, just make sure you get it fixed. I thought it was going to, stop me for speeding. So, cause I'm a little heavy on the foot sometimes. So, but he, warned me about taillight, and he turned around as he was getting ready to turn around. He asked me, he said, why do you move your head and your arms like that? And I told him, I said, well, it's called Tourette syndrome. And he said, what is that? And I told him it's a neurological condition where it's a chemical imbalance in your nervous system. And he said, well, my cousin does that. And we've never known what that is. And I told him, I said, well, you need to tell him to go to a neurologist or a doctor and have him diagnosed, and he can take some medication. I told him I take Klonopin for mine, and it does help. So there's a lot of people out there